Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk about the 5 obstacles that are keeping you from financial freedom. So first of all, my name's Jodie. I work in finance in London and have done for the last 10 years. And this channel is pretty new, so I'm going to be talking about financial well-being and kind of like financial psychology and how you can be better with your money. But first of all, let's get into the video. The very first obstacle I want to talk about is fear. So you may have fear of losing money, fear of obstacles that might be in your way for financial freedom. And what I say to this is to really try and tackle your fear head on. So what ways you can do this is you can improve your financial education, like YouTube videos like this. There's loads of great finance YouTubers out there like Nishka, like Graham Stephan, like Nate O'Brien, people like that. And you can get these videos for absolutely free. Also, I would say to make sure you are understanding, where their ethics lie. Don't just listen to anyone talk about investing and, take it on board. Things like cryptocurrency can be incredibly volatile, or single stocks can be more riskier, investments to go through. What I do for myself personally is I invest in index funds like the S&P 500, and my plan is to invest in that for a long period of time so that it can compound over time. So don't be afraid of investing. Do your research on it, and then just start, because if you do something called dollar cost averaging, which means you put the same amount into investments every month, like let's say £100 every month, and that way you're only buying £100 worth. So if the price is really high for a stock one day versus the next, you're only spending £100, and that way it can be automatic and it can sit in the background and just grow over time. The second obstacle I want to talk about that people may have, to prevent them from getting to financial freedom is cynicism, aka people believing that it's not possible for them to be millionaires, for them to be financially free, for them to retire early, things like that. And what I would say to you is you should really have a look at my previous video, which was about a book called Rich Habits, and in that he studied a lot of self-made millionaires. And what he found, as a similar trait amongst them all, was that they had an overwhelming sense of positivity that they could do the thing, invest in something, buy the property, start a business. They were very overwhelmingly positive. So what I would say to you, if you have a bit of a fear, or if you have cynicism that you're not going to make it, you're really damaging your own self there. That's like self-loathing, self-hate, you're really bringing yourself down. So really try and be positive and just take the first steps, whether that's investing, whether that's learning to save for the first time, whether that's getting out of debt. Really just take the steps, and if you will take the steps, you will get out of debt. It doesn't matter what your background is. Everyone starts from a different, place. You may have had a different upbringing to the next person that's sitting beside you at work, but that doesn't mean that you are less able to be financially free, or, you're going to have to work until your 90s because that's how you feel like it's going to be at the minute. You have to be true to yourself. You have to be nice to yourself, you have to be positive, and that taking the steps, like really having a look at your finances. What are you spending your money on? Can you take a little bit of spending money on clothes or brunch or cocktails and put it into saving and investing and setting yourself up for the future that way? The third obstacle I want to talk about is laziness. So maybe you feel like, you're too tired after work, or you just don't have the time, even though you work a 9 to 5 and you've got loads of spare hours. So what I would say to this one is really think about how you want to live your life in the future. Do you want to be that person who's working well into their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, just because you have so many bills you need to pay at that point in life? Or do you want to try and retire early? That could be in your 40s or your 50s, below, the average pension age. Or do you want to, travel the world when you're, a little bit older and you want to retire a little bit earlier to do those things? Really have a think about the type of life that you want. And of course, you're going to have to work hard to achieve those. If your laziness is taking over and you're just doom scrolling every day after work, watching television, eating takeaways, things like that. Of course, we all do those things, but if you're doing them constantly every day, instead of creating a better future for yourself, instead of, saving the excess, instead of creating a new skill, instead of maybe starting a business, things like that, Of course, that's laziness taking over if you're not doing those things. So have a think about how you want to live your life. If you want to be that person who works till they're 90 years of age, by all means do it, it's your own life. But if you want more for yourself, if you want to lean into compound interest, learn about investing, learn about passive income streams, maybe get into rental properties and get income through that way, you know, you really have to not be lazy, essentially. But also, I mean, not to grind yourself to the ground. There's a lot of hustle cultures out there, which I think is actually the wrong mentality, because you're not a machine, you know, you're not a robot. You're gonna have to have, you know, at least 7 or 8 hours, you know, of sleep every night, okay? You're gonna have to fuel your body well and eat well and go to the gym. And of course, I think there's ways to work smarter rather than working harder. Like, your body is not a machine, so make sure that you look after yourself as well. So the fourth obstacle I want to talk about is bad spending habits. Are you someone that leans into their credit card a lot every month? Are you someone who says yes to a holiday with their friends even though in the back of their head they know they can't afford it? Do you have a really big car loan on a car that's sitting out in the drive that you barely even use? These are all bad spending habits, and if you tend to lean into a lot of those things every month, every year for the rest of your days, you know, of course you're not going to have financial freedom. So have a think. This kind of links into the first point about educating yourself about money, about being better with your finances. You know, saving or investing at least 20% of your monthly income is what I would really recommend. It can be hard if you're living in a big city, but there are definitely ways, you know, even if you had a little side hustle here and there, to be able to invest more and use that money for good. And final point I want to talk about is arrogance. Now you might be thinking, what the hell am I talking about? But arrogance as in you're too good, that it's not, you know, you're not going to fail, that anything you touch turns to gold sort of mentality. You don't want to learn anymore, you know everything else about a topic. Of course that's going to cause you to fail, okay? And no one will want to work alongside someone like that. So you really have to be understanding of the environment that you're in. And really funnily, in that book Rich Habits that I spoke about in my last video, a lot of the millionaires that he interviewed for that book, they often get advice from experts in fields. So they don't, you know, self-made millionaires don't have this arrogant mindset a lot of the time. I'm sure there are arrogant millionaires out there who are self-made. But a really interesting topic from that book is that they will seek information out from tax experts, investment experts, to have their peers who are investing to learn about what they're doing so that they can make their own decisions themselves, you know, to learn about how to create a business online or from other successful people who have done it. So don't be arrogant in the lane that you want to develop in, okay? It's really important to learn and to get advice from people who are experts in that field. So be open to it. And that's it, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. If you are on the journey to FIRE, which is Financial Independent Retire Early, I do have a super old video that I did, which will pop up top when I first started my channel, if you want to learn more about that. Or if you want any other videos that, you know, you have a topic in mind that I haven't covered yet, just drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys. Okay, thanks for listening. Bye.